You're now listening to the Crucible Strategic podcast with Albert Polanco and Ryan Reed, where we talk on leadership, strategy, and marketing, sharing how we and some of the most successful people we know take themselves and their businesses to that next level. This is not for the easily offended or the weak-minded, but for those who want to push themselves, elevate their minds, and move towards positive personal and business growth. All right, guys, I'm here with Stacy Cross, the creator of the Comfort Killers movement. You know, I could give you this amazing introduction on Stacy that would probably impress you. But, you know, I believe this person, this human being, she's incredible, you know, and I just recently discovered her, and I think you have to experience her for yourself. You know, her energy is contagious, you know, and I have no doubt that she's going and moving into like massive things. You know, there's these people that you come across that I would call, you know, when you spend time with them, they leave an impression of increase. You know, it's like when you get close to them or you talk to them, you know, when you walk away from these type of people, you feel like amazing, like they added to your life. You know, that's the feeling that I have when I connect with Stacy. You know, just I know that anytime I'm connecting with her or working with her on anything, it can only lead to increase. She's worked with Grant Cardone. She's got a TV show on Cardone TV with Grant Cardone, and it's her mission is to help kill comfort. And you guys know that is something that we believe in. I was drawn to her by what I can only explain to you guys as the law of attraction, you know, in my own life. So I'm excited to have the privilege of becoming a content contributor with her on her Comfort Killers. But I wanted to thank you, Stacy, for your time and joining us today.
It is such a blessing to be here with you today, Albert, and with your audience. You're right. Let's give a second and shout out the universe and the law of attraction for being very specific and attracting two mega increasers, because listen, we both are each other's resources. We give and take, we pull it. It's the yin and yang. We're here for a reason and a purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited, honored, privileged. It is an honor for me to forget spend. Let's invest some time together, you and I, Albert, today.
Yes, awesome. You know, Stacy, I think we have some deep beliefs in common, especially around when it comes to the power that we as human beings have in our lives as creators, right? So it is my personal belief that the only way that I can explain it, right, and the way that I try to explain it to others is like we have godlike powers, right, that we as human beings, as creators, right, we have it within us, and they're so untapped, right, because of the limited knowledge that we have of our minds, right? We just don't understand the power of our minds. And I came across one of these quotes it was one of your quotes, and it goes, the most important aspect of life is knowing how powerful you are, and this is when you stop looking for answers and you start creating solutions, right? I was blown away by that quote. I was like, man, we're eye to eye on that. Like, you can create your life, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. But here's the thing that's so awesome about the universe. And I know we gave a shout out to the universe before, but I'm going to have to stop and give another shout out, because we're building this crazy 4-step process to becoming a comfort killer. It's a 30-day process, right? How do you start from wanting to change and yearning that change to actually doing it and apply some practical and actionable steps in your life? Today, I was talking about this creator notion, right? Because it's you know, and you're laughing, and we know exactly what we're doing here. Yeah. It's because I said, you know what, the way I view life is like this. You know, God is the creator. God created all things, you and me, and within me, we have the same ability to create. I look around, I'm talking in a microphone that someone created. My laptop is on a desk that someone created. The laptop is a tool that someone created. The shirt that I got on my back, someone created. Ourselves as creators, and look outside and seeing how much value someone else has created. And I take this pizza pie concept, right? Because I want to be able to relate it to people. If you have a pizza pie and you created that pizza, right? The whole pie is a pizza. If you take so much as a crumb off that pizza pie, it's still pizza. Okay. So if you are made within God's image, you are a creator. The bottom line is you need to recognize absolutely the power that's bestowed in you, baby. And that doggy is a creator as well. And I love it. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate, and I love how the universe brought that back for me, 360, because today I was just talking about that concept.
That's crazy. So there was another quote that I saw as a partial quote. It says, what happens to you happens because of you. And that's something that me and my business partner were just talking about. And this dog is tripping out. Me and my business partner were just talking about this. Yeah, she's getting excited.
Yeah, she's on it. She got the energy going right through her.
So we were talking about, there's so many people that, when it comes to life, they think like there's some leaf that gets blown around any which way, when in fact we are like these big, massive ships, where we can set our sail and go wherever we want. You can be more, you can do more, you can have more, because you can learn more. You can have anything you want, but people have this notion that, it's, whatever comes to me, whatever happens, happens. I hope, they have this, they don't understand the creation, and you get to pick where you want to go. You want to be an author? Write a book.
Albert. Oh my God. I don't know what the universe is doing to me today, but I got some goosebumps. Today exactly. I mean, just hours ago, I wrote an email and I started it off like, hope you guys wrote down your goals. Then I stopped at hope and I said, I hate that word. Yeah. You better have written your goals down today.
Yes.
And everything that I spoke about, that's how I know when things are true. We reinforce it. The universe reinforces it right back. We don't know where we're getting this knowledge and wisdom from. It could be from someone just walking down the street that just hits you with a nugget and you're like, wow, I was just thinking about this thing here. But you're absolutely right when it comes to everything that happens to us. Of us, because I like to be at the cause of things. And I believe that the freedom that we have is in the freedom of choice, right? We always have a choice no matter what. We were born with the innate ability to choose in between something and something else. I love to choose and teach people how to choose to be at cause of something. So we're already looking ahead at what this result is going to be. Work it backwards. Hey, is this choice right for me? Is it dependent on someone else's thing or someone else for me to get this result? Or am I choosing to be at cause of the outcome? And that's how I look over things. And that's what gives us the power when we realize that we have the authority to choose. And that's where the real deal freedom comes from, baby.
Yeah, that's true. The result, I want to talk about that real quick, is people look at their current results. A lot of what your limitations are all within yourself, right? It's what you think you can do. Thoughts become things, right? So people look at their results, right? They're poor. They have a job they can't stand. They look at their current results, and number one, they don't realize that they created those results by their thoughts. But number two, they feel like these results, and they judge their future based on their current results. But when you get the idea in your mind that you create things, you create your existence through your thoughts, that result is irrelevant, right? It starts up here. I like Bob Proctor, his message. I love what he teaches, and he teaches the science of getting rich and the secret, the law of attraction. And you just said something a little bit ago about, sometimes you might run into somebody, you get a nugget. And actually, this past Saturday, I was doing a longer walk with my dog and kind of meditating out in nature. And I was watching this bird, right? And I had this profound just feeling, right? I saw this beautiful bird floating through the air, right? And it's floating on something you can't see. It's invisible. It's air. You can feel the wind. It's there, but you can't see it. And how is this bird flying and soaring, not even flapping its wings, just soaring on this invisible substance? And I was like, man, that's how we are. There's this invisible substance that we can fly on that you can't see it, but it exists. It's a law,
Yes.
And that was kind of like just a little thing that I got something out of,
Yeah, and I believe that, when you say nature, I think that sometimes if we're so aware that we start looking for things in places that are not normal, right? You don't see, hey, I'm going to go out and learn something. I'm going to go look at a tree. No one says that. But then when we go out and look at something, and this happened to me with a cloud, in Delaware, when I lived in Delaware, and I got to get into my gambling story because this thing is crazy. But when I lived in Delaware and I looked up the word Delaware and I look up everything because I believe the etymology and the definition of a word, because if I know what the word is, then I know what I'm doing, then I know what I'm not doing. It's very opposite. So I looked up and I'm meditating. I'm walking on this path in between a park, and I look up, and in the cloud, and nobody probably ever would believe me. Look up in the cloud, letter I was as clear as day. And mind you, I'm going into personal development now. I'm going into the higher self. I'm trying to pick up cues and clues from the world and everything around me. And I look up, don't know why I looked up, because it was necessary that I did. And that made me go back to, okay, what was I doing? Because that higher self, that almighty, that powerful self has all the answers, and we already have embedded with us. So whatever question or something that I had, I always have to look up and say, okay, that drew me back to internal. Okay, so internal within, I'm within. I don't live external anymore. But just to get on the terms of, where I came from a little bit, man, it was rusty. I was like a rusty nail in a freaking toolbox. Like nobody would use me.
Yeah.
Because I was addicted to gambling for 9 years.
Wow.
Zombie. I cursed the machine out. I cursed the person next to me out. I cursed my girlfriend out. I cursed everyone but myself for this problem that I developed with the choices that I've made. And no one accepting responsibility. So, my family, the traditional thinking, conventional wisdom said, it's someone else's fault that you are where you are. Wow. It's the government, it's your school teacher, it's someone else, is just not your fault. And when I realized that tool of accepting 100% responsibility for your life, your actions, your visualizations, your behavior, everything, then everything I could change. And that was the biggest moment in my life, coming out of a 9-year addiction of gambling. I'm talking heavy. I'm talking, give me $1 and I'm running to the casino, okay? I'm talking, I will be clever to pull some money out of where money didn't exist from. And I started thinking about how clever I was to obtain things when it was to do something destructive. Mm. And that same cleverness and aptitude could be applied to something that was constructive. Yes. And that's all I did was redirect who I was into something powerful, something positive, something constructive. And that's how I was able to overcome it without, support groups or the GA or anything. I just, I dived in personal development and spirituality.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk about that, but you just said something about your things already being here, right? And the saying that I heard that was just brilliant. It's like, in this room right now and where you're at right now, there's music. There's music playing. You can't hear it. I can't hear it because we're not tuned in. We don't have a receiver that's tuned into that frequency to listen to the music. The music's already there. Everything that you can be and achieve is already within you, but you're not tuned. Your mind is not tuned to that frequency.
Yes.
It's already there. And that was the brilliant way that Bob Proctor, I learned that from Bob Proctor. But going back
Bob Proctor is high on your list, man.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor is high on your list. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
He's his wisdom is old school, but it's practical and it works. And I think it's something that's missing from a lot of the self-help stuff. There is that unseen side of things, right? You could do the techniques, you could do the methods, you could know the strategies, but if you don't have the mindset and the understanding of how your mind works, why you can't do the things you want to do, how your results affect your efforts. People, I don't have the motivation, I can't do that. And then the book that I'm writing, talking about, your goals should be attached to your habits. All these different things, they all tie in together. But to go back to your story of your backstory, I wanted you to tell us a brief story of how you formed the Comfort Killers and where that came from.
All right. So great question, by the way, Albert. And so the Comfort Killers, it's so funny because back in 2008, when there was no Comfort Killers, when there was just a heavily obsessed, crazy, negative on the side sometimes, and, didn't understand the power of the mind person, I wrote a book, Uncomfortable. And of course I didn't finish it because that was 2008. It was called Get Uncomfortable.
Okay.
This is 2008. I wrote a story of different things that happened in my past, growing up, and in Jamaica, and all these little stories that I embedded in there. So that was called Get Uncomfortable, but nothing really came as the Comfort Killers. Now, one day I decided, you know what? I need to add on my task list something other than going to the casino, because I'm so done. I'm fighting with myself. So what I did was go to a seminar. It was a free seminar that day. I said, you know what? I'm gonna invest some time in this free seminar with the rest of the free seminar tours. We're gonna have a blast. Yeah. Listen to EDM, get pumped up, and so I went, and of course, because my mama taught me, sit in the front row of everything. So I sat in the front row. And I met a gentleman there, and he said, you want to exchange business cards? I was like, I don't got none, bro. I just put this on my to-do list today. I don't even know what I'm doing here. And then what struck me was the speaker. He said something in the term of, guys, you got to believe in yourself. And the whole room lit up. Like, it was the biggest profound. It was just the best thing they've heard. And I looked around the room and I said, how many free seminars did these people go to? How many? And one tapped me on my shoulder. Here, there's a free one going on down the street next week. I'm like, what is going on? Then I realized that people are these seminars. They get the motivation. Then 2 weeks later, they flatline. And they go to another free seminar. They go to another free seminar. I walked out of that seminar so fast. I said, I don't need to be here. There was one thing that I was missing, and it was action. I went home and I said, I need to develop a company that teaches those people, that teaches everyone in that seminar that they don't need another free seminar. What they need to do is apply action. So I created the Comfort Killers. I Googled it, and it was a bunch of serial killers.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't know. I mean, I was like, what the hell is a comfort killer? You know what? This is my goal now. It's going to be the #1 search result on Google. So, honestly, it came out of thin air, but what it was for me was my accountability partner. I developed a company that could hold me accountable, because I can't go around telling people to get uncomfortable if I'm not doing the same thing. Yeah. So each day it was just straight up blazing, get uncomfortable from that point on. And that was February 14, 2016, which is Valentine's Day. That is the day that I fell 100% in love with myself. And I started the Comfort Killers.
Man, that's incredible. And that message, I mean, I can't even explain how powerful the idea of losing comfort in your life, right? We're all working for something to attain something more, to get some level of comfort, right? Yes. But it's when you decide that comfort, you're going to step outside of that. Like, everything that you want is right outside your comfort zone. It's not miles away. It's just right outside. It's right a step past where you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm uncomfortable with that, So I like to do something. My partner is like a comfort killer to the max. Like that dude, he if it's cold outside, he'll go outside with no shirt on, like freezing cold.
Love it.
If it's hot, he'll put on a sweater and go on a run. For me, I started doing the cold showers because I hate cold showers. And I do it every day, and it's become a ritual. And it's like I am training my mind to be uncomfortable. Just something simple like that can have such a massive difference when you're sitting there and looking at this little to-do task that you're like, I'm not feeling it. It's like, no, do it now. It's like, I don't want to wake up in the morning. Do it now. You train yourself. You get that mental muscle to just act in spite of what you feel, Powerful concept. It makes you a superior performer when you can tell yourself to do something and then you actually do it,
That's what it was all about for me. It was about taking control back and regaining some authority over my life. So yeah, I did everything that you guys mentioned. I got up wee hours of the morning, jumped in a cold shower, walked around. I remember one time I thought I was so bad. I live in like a hilly, mountainous part of Philadelphia. So I'm going to run up this hill. I ran up. I realized that the hill was running me, not me running it. But I did it. I got up at 4 a.m. and did that. And I did that for so long. And I don't know if you've read The Compound Effect.
Yes, it was one of the first books.
Yeah. So it was It was a weekly rhythm register that he had in there. And I pumped that weekly rhythm register to a point where people are like, Stay, you don't have to do this. You could go watch a movie. You could go watch Netflix. I cut my cable off. We still have it off. I haven't watched TV solidly in about 2 years, you know? So it's like, I do those things to set myself up for success. But not only that, same thing that you said, to instill power over myself, because I've been lying to myself, and many of us have been.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to wake up at 5. I've been waking up at 5. And then you're telling your subconscious that you're a liar, you're a quitter,
Yes.
it doesn't work out for you. And so it's easier when you don't wake up, you just have those excuses and you eat it. But for me, my subconscious is like, up, okay? You know better than this. You are a comfort killer. I trained my subconscious to be so hard on me because it's seen what I could do. And it's only myself. When I say my subconscious, it's only myself.
You know, people don't understand that a lot of your self-confidence and self-worth comes from your own promises that you make to yourself, right? So every time that you say, it's actually sad during New Year's time where people start posting, it's like new me, new year, new me, BS.
Yeah, new year.
And they're so cynical about it. They're like, I'm not even going to try. But they don't realize where that comes from. That comes from every time that you say you're going to do something and you don't do it. Mm-hmm. Your self-worth goes down. You're lowering your own self-worth, your own ideas of what you are, your value. And then that makes you not even shoot where you want to shoot, because you feel this weakness in you that you can't do what you say you're going to do. And they don't realize the real cost of it, right? It really costs you. And I learned that the hard way in my life. When you say you're going to do something, do it. And the most important promises are not to others. They're to yourself, right? Those are the most important promises you have to keep. When you can keep your own promises and you respect yourself enough to do the things that matter to you, then all the other things fall in line. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I mean, it started there for me. After I took 100% responsibility, I realized that all I was doing was just training myself to become a failure. All the little lies that you would tell yourself, and people don't know those lies. Behind closed doors, you're like, man, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to really do it this time. And then you don't. And it really just starts squeezing your power into a little nutshell. You want to talk about confidence? Confidence comes from actually saying something and doing it.
Yeah.
Confidence in that.
Yeah, that's real true. And the thing that I discovered also was having a system, like, knowing where you're shooting for and tracking progress. Well, I didn't learn it till later through Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've followed Simon.
I've read something.
And how he talks about the dopamine release, right? How people are stuck in their phones and they get the dopamine. Well, I didn't realize that, when you do a checklist, you feel that rush of like you're accomplishing something. Well, I accidentally created this system of tracking progress towards a goal. And I found out that why I was so excited was because I was seeing progress. When you see progress in your life towards the things that you're going for, it's this addiction type feeling of like you feel that confidence, you feel that self-worth, you see yourself achieving that thing, But
I believe it 100%, and I think that what you said is what I've done. I applied stats on my life because I'm like, people always have stats on me. They know when exactly I watch TV, when I'm on my phone. All these companies want stats. Why am I not keeping data and stats on myself? So I would have these ratios. I mean, God, I hope I save those papers even right now, what I do on a daily basis, it's a stat. So I can literally look, and I got graph paper, man. I'm old school. Like I got the pencil with the X and Y axis. And it's like, I care so much about where I'm going and my performance that's something I need to do on a daily basis. But now it's a discipline. It started off as a weekly rhythm register, putting in my percentages and my goals that I hit. But now it's such a discipline where I'm looking, hey, where's my stat book? How can I up this stat? How can I put out more content in a lesser time? What do I need to outsource? So then you start getting performance behaviors that you could actually enhance when you know where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. I do that with my business clients, but I started that with myself. It's like, how can you possibly go where you want to go if you don't, number one, know where you're at right now? It's like punching an address in a GPS, right? You can get from Texas to Canada, right? But not unless you know that you're in Texas. What if you're in New York? The directions would be different, right? So you have to be able to know and track where you're at in order to adjust and know whether or not you're on track. You know, it's a math problem. It's just tracking. It's data, like you said. You know, I love that, and that's one of the reasons that I feel like I have an advantage on others is I track everything. You know, I track everything that I do. All my habits, they become, like you said, performance activities. You know, and it becomes a habit. After 61 days, it's no longer a mental thought. It's boom, boom, boom. I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you another question, Stacy. What was one of the single greatest, or what is the single greatest lesson that you would say maybe your parents or a mentor taught you?
Wow, that's a nice question. I haven't had it before, making me think. But, you know, it's so funny because, you know, when people say mentors, man, I had to steal mentors. If people know how much I stole them, they would ask for a check. I mean, every book I would dive in. I got so many mentors. After a while, I needed to email them and say, man, you don't know me, but I know you. You're my coach. You've been my coach. Okay.
Wow.
But I love Jack Canfield. Okay. Jack Canfield really hit it home for me with the success principles. And, you know, what he taught me in there was very, very important into my progress. And it was, and this is just something, and then I'm going to get into the lesson. It was, we're born with an inner guidance system that lets us know when we're on or off purpose by the amount of joy we're receiving. And that's when I look back inside my life and inside my actions, realized I wasn't too happy coming out of the casino broke. I wasn't too happy going home with another excuse and another lie to try to mend up. I wasn't too happy watching people cry over the failures that I've had. I wasn't too happy. So realizing that, I took a drastic step into making my life what I wanted to be, created. So the lesson in that was great. No one ever said, hey, State, you're great. Okay. I've always been great. Unraveled the filter and the conventional wisdom and the traditional thinking. And I don't blame my parents because, bro, that's what they were taught. A lot of people turn around and blame their parents and blame, hey, that's what they were taught. I have love for them. What I want to do now is break the cycle so they could see that what we've been taught, excuse me, was rubbish.
Yes.
Opportunity to learn from that versus just, punching them in the face and saying, hey, you taught me crap. Excuse me. Yeah, thank you. I got Kangen alkaline water coming to my hand right now. It's gonna soothe me. Hold on 1 second, guys. No, but you're absolutely learned that lesson. You know, I was already great. Many more people should start telling kids at an early age how great they are and what creators they are. Able to create anything out of life. So that was a lesson for me, but it had to come way later on in my years through one of the mentors that I still owe money to. Yep. You hear me?
Yeah, I think we just lost you for that last few seconds.
Yeah. So all I was saying to round it out was, just seeing how great I was and then offering that assistance, because my purpose is every time I talk about purpose, I never knew what it meant before. Okay, I know maybe some passions, but my passions got me into doing music. I was a hip hop head, right? Rapping all day in my mom's basement, not doing anything with my life there. Yeah. Then it got me into a clothing business. I thought I was passionate about that. See, passions change. But once you have a purpose, you start realizing the underlying thing in all of that. I was always concerned about the journey to success, about the journey that someone's on. Man, I started a t-shirt company and was more concerned about the journey of building that company than actually selling a t-shirt. Maybe that's why I went out of business. But hey, purpose behind it.
Yeah, that's powerful. And what you were saying about the parents, it hits home for me as well, because, you know, my father comes from, you know, he's 72 years old, and he comes from, you know, the 40s and immigrating into New York, poverty, absolute poverty. And then he made something of himself from a very, very young age. But that mindset has stuck with him, you know, and it's like for a long time in my life, when I realized my own issues around money concepts, right, I would blame my father. But it came to the point where it's like, you cannot give what you don't have, right? So it's like, why would you be upset at this man who's, I mean, he's a wonderful man. He's done everything he can for his family. He's given everything he could and he had, you know. It's like, you cannot, that's just a limitation in understanding. And I will be, and I am the one who's going to break that chain, you know. And just like you said, it took getting that knowledge from mentors and books like you're talking about, you know. That's really powerful. So another one I wanted to go with you was, how was working with Grant Cardone? How was that?
You know, he keeps you on your toes as far as, man, when I got the show on there, I was like, I'm going to pump out so many shows. I got to overwork him. Okay. I'm going to outwork Grant Cardone.
Wow.
And then here's what, you know, and he puts you up on a different level, you know, because it's like how purposeful he is and how on purpose he is. And because he believes 100% that he is here to save the world through his products and teachings and motivation. And, you know, he's living through that. So you'll talk to him and he's like, man, what do you need? It's not selling anymore when you're on purpose. And he taught me a lot about that. But at the end of the day, yeah, I came out like, first of all, when they contacted me, I was like, okay, I just been at this Comfort Killers thing for like 3 months. Who the hell? Wow. What the hell? Why the hell? And, you know, and that's that law of attraction. Because when your purpose, and to fall back a little bit on purpose, when your purpose is so big and it touches so many people, the universe needs to speed. The universe is like, oh my God, there's a big goal and mission. She means business. We need a vehicle quick, okay? Yeah. Because she's not stopping and she's proving herself every day. So she's no joke. We tried to test her a few times. She didn't take the bait. That means she's really on purpose. We need to get this out to her. So yeah, they contacted me in 3 months. And mind you, I was just pumping out articles like you wouldn't believe on my my blog, my Comfort Killer company. So when they contacted me, I was like, oh, wow, I have to skill up now. I have to level up and I have to accept. And that was the hardest part for me, was to accept this next level and this next phase in life, being a part of the Grant Cardone community, his ecosystem, you know, being able to work with him, interview him, and really work with a great group of people over at Cardone Technologies. So it leveled me up. But what I did learn, and this is probably the biggest level, because we realized that we want to go out there and outwork and outdo, and I can say, well, you know, when Grant Cardone or guys like Gary Vee shut off the camera after filming, there's a group of people behind him that gets that content out and packaged and for social media. I didn't have that. So I was not outworking him. I was outworking myself, you know, so to speak. So it brought me to believe in these systems. I mean, real business systems that would allow me to work smarter. And that's the main thing that, you know, working with him has taught me, is let's work smarter and get the purpose and always be on purpose, but also don't outwork yourself, don't outdo yourself. The value is in the content and delivery that you provide.
Oh, that's crazy. From the moment I discovered his 10X book, I had this idea that I wanted to work with Grant Cardone one day. You know, he's an inspirational. You know, he's just got that straightforward energy, and it made sense when I saw your energy, and I just knew. You know, I was like, man, they are on that same. You know, that energy is just contagious. Yeah. You actually inspired me to level up what I was doing. I was like, man, look at how she's going after it. And what people don't realize is, like, even though I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and doing things and branding myself and going out there and going after things that, other people are like, how are you doing this? Writing a book, all these different things. When I see someone like yourself, I'm like, man, you could do it that much harder. You could do it that much better. You can go out there and just put yourself out there, because there's so many people who will support you. There's so many people out there who are growth minded, that will push you, that will help you, that will link hands with you and take what you're doing, that idea, to another level, And it's just, I'm very, very inspired by your whole movement, what you're doing with the Comfort Killers. It's very, very interesting to watch. And I'm excited to be a contributor. I can't wait to start putting some content and handing it over to you guys.
You're going to get nudged on the back and say, where is your article? I mean, we got nudgers out here, and they're going to nudge you, okay?
I'm good with that. That's good. It's good to be held accountable,
Yeah.
Me and my partner, we talk about, what are the goals for the week? What are you trying to attain? And I need you to hold me accountable, right? Because the thing is that you could tell yourself, hey, I need to get this, this, and this done. But when you tell it to someone else and you say, hey, I need you to hold me accountable, now you have to explain yourself as a grown adult to another grown adult why you didn't do that.
Yep.
And you know what's going to come out of their mouth. Basically, it's whatever your excuse is BS, right? And they're not going to give you any leeway. And so being held accountable is very, very powerful. When you have to, give it out,
Let me show you the person that has been the backbone. Me and the Comfort Killers. Siobhan, come here. Because she saw me at the lowest, okay? Yeah. Lowest. And she is a witness. And I know now why we are together in business and life, because someone needed to witness what was happening. And this is Siobhan Atkins.
Hi, how are you?
And she is the chief operating officer. Books. He's so organized, isn't he?
Look at all those books and the painting. You should see I have one over there. It's pretty similar.
He's it. And we need a strong supporting base and to move up. And she holds me accountable. And we've been growing each other, I believe,
That's awesome.
And so I'm proud. I'm happy. And I'm happy to have her on my team.
Sometimes I have to kick her butt.
Sometimes she has to kick my butt.
Wow. To do the things that I see you doing, and honestly, at the speed that I see the content coming out of your camp, I'm like, wow, like I see something new all the time. It's like I got to step my game up. I have frameworks and I teach people how to create content and all that stuff, but the speed that I'm seeing it come out of Comfort Killers is quick.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
I want people to be like, what, do they have a mini Google over there in Philadelphia? Yes, we do.
Yeah, it's just, it's high quality ideas, right? So I had this idea of, I went and bought this domain. I always have these ideas and I want to develop this down the line, but it was called Net Worth Flicks, right? Instead of like Netflix, like this platform is to level up your net worth to the world, right? Not just finances, but just your value that you create to the world. I thought that would be a cool thing to work with people like yourself to kind of develop out.
No, I would love that. I wrote it down already. I would love to be a part of that. Network flicks, just net worth flicks, just because I don't watch Netflix and I need something to level me up now. Yeah, so exactly. Here we go.
Yeah, so getting people like Grant Cardone, yourself, other just people that are just out there pushing, concepts that elevate your mind, instead of people, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV for a long time. I don't watch the news. I'm really, really strict on what I allow to come into my eyes and my ears. I'm listening to audiobooks all the time, reading, you got to be that way. You tell people that you don't watch TV and they're like, oh my God, what do you do with your time? Well, go after my goals.
It's so funny. At the resource center, this guy that I caught myself, on the football, and he was like, Stace, you're not watching football. I haven't heard you. I'm like, I'm not watching TV, man. I shut that off. And he was like, yeah, because the Jets are, and he's railing off some stats. The Knicks are railing off some stats, and I'm like, we know more stats about a freaking NFL and NBA player than we know about the stats of our life, know about our own stats. And that's one thing that I saw the difference. It's like, man, if you put that much energy and effort into keeping up with the stats of someone that's out there living their dream.
Yes.
And all we're doing is sitting here arguing about it. Like your team is mad, we're mad together. Come on. Yeah, that's what I looked at that. I was like, oh, hell no, I just can't sit with the masses.
Yeah, no. Anytime I see the masses,
there's nothing fun there.
The other way. Yeah, if you see the masses,
get the hell out.
Yeah, go the other way. Like that's a surefire. I learned that from Charlie Munger, or his partner Warren Buffett. He's like, it's never he never loses betting against the masses, right? It's like what everyone else is doing. It's that's you need to do the opposite.
Yep, absolutely.
So I wanted to ask you if you could give away, everybody talks about the books they read, especially, if you're into personal development. But I wanted to ask you a little different question. If you can give away one book to a really close friend, which book would you give away as a gift?
That's a powerful one as well. To my mental Rolodex and find the best book that, the 10X rule. The 10X rule will smash. And he knows it too. The 10X rule will smash up at any given point they are in their life. So it would have to be Grant Cardone, the 10X rule. If you could just give those out at Christmas, you'll be good, man. I started giving books out at Christmas instead of toys and stuff to my nieces and nephew. And they know when they come around, it's a bag full of books. But it would definitely be the 10X rule, Grant Cardone.
Excuse me for the dog.
Fine.
Yeah, that's definitely a great book. And I like what you said about that. I gave my little nephew Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker, because that was one book that literally changed my entire thoughts around money and my belief systems and everything like that. I went to his Millionaire Mind Intensive, and that was life-changing too, if you can go to that. Another one.
Millionaire Mind!
Yeah, that's it was a great experience.
Yep.
So I like to ask this question too when I do these kind of interviews. Have you seen The Matrix, the movie?
I have.
So
a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while back. I used to be a fan. I'm in the video production, film production type world, and I've always been a fan of films. But I don't watch them anymore. I don't have time to. But The Matrix, you know how they implanted ideas and thoughts into people's minds? If you could implant an idea into someone's mind, Matrix style, like they could download this idea, one idea, which idea would you implant in someone's mind?
I believe that the foundation of all ideas is that you are a creator, you are powerful, change the world.
Powerful.
That's the idea that I've embedded in my mind the hard way by repeating it a million times and tapping my wrist and really having to accept it. But if it were as easy as just a download, creators, and they are powerful, and that's a scary word to some. They don't know how to control or absorb that power, so they give it up. They relinquish their power because it's too hard to handle. But if I were to able to download it, it would be, you are a creator, you're going to change the world. And no matter what way you change the world, because you are a creator, it's accepted. The more people you touch, the more humans that you move into a direction of positivity, the better the world for the future generations, man. It's not about us, man. I want this thing to live on.
Yes.
Legacy. And I'm coming right back anyway, so I'd rather it come to a nice planet.
Yeah, have you ever heard of Justin Wren, the UFC fighter? He's got this thing. If you ever look him up, I'm going to warn you. My partner told me about Justin Wren, and it's funny. I'm going to go back to the law of attraction deal. Is I was looking for something purposeful, like to invest in, like outside of this country, like people that really, really need help. And what was on my mind was water and food. Right? There's places that lack water and food. And so I literally wrote this down, and my partner had told me about Justin Wren. I didn't know who he was. So he's like, man, I want to warn you, when you look up Justin Wren, you're going to cry. And I'm like, okay. So Justin Wren's a UFC fighter who he's got this foundation called Fight for the Forgotten. And one of the things I forgot to mention was, where was I going to go and do this, right? And Africa, for some reason, kept coming up in my mind. And I was like, why Africa? Like, you know, there's so many places. I know Africa needs help, but there's so many places that need help. What was it that it was Africa? And what I came up with was, because it's scary, because it's uncomfortable, because it's dangerous, right? And then I found Justin Wren, and he's got this thing called Fight for the Forgotten, you know, and I was like, holy crap, like, because the people, nobody worries about what goes on over there. But basically, he's got a foundation that teaches people and empowers them to drill their own wells, because the stat was, he has a TED Talk, the stat was 5,000 kids a day are dying due to dirty water. Right, 5,000 a day, which was equivalent to 100 school buses going off a cliff every day. Right, that was sobering. You know, if you look into his stuff, it's deep. You know, and I lost my train of thought where I was going with this, but just doing something purposeful. You know, and like now what you were saying is helping others. It's about others. You know, and that was something that I could really get excited about. Is like making a difference in people that, you know, they're forgotten, or they, you know, nobody's going to stand up and fight for them. Nobody, you know, they have no way of knowing these things. They're not connected to the outside world, and improving other people's lives. You really get a sense of fulfillment from helping others. It's not just doing for yourself or your family. It's improving and investing in other people's lives. What really, really, I believe, as human beings, fulfills you, you know? Yep. And you can't do that without getting wealth and abundance and all these things. That's how you're able to help others. That's kind of like a tangent. I know I went on a tangent there, but I just felt I wanted.
No, it's fine, because again, the law of attraction, the universe never fails. And it's just today. Everything's today, man. Everything's you know, I love how the universe does it. I don't have to wait. You know, I start thinking something, and then boom, here comes some answer, here comes some resource, here comes some person. That's why it's almost scary when you get in this mode and what you have to think. It all has to be positive now for me, because it instantaneously answers and gives me what I need. So, but yeah, I agree with it, because, and I was telling the people, I call them my Comfort Killer Army and my Comfort Killer Academy. And I'm working on, like I said, this 30-day power pack. I mean, I'm giving everyone everything I know, right? It's a 4-step process to becoming a comfort killer, to living a successful life. And hey, you know, it's really not about me. What really fulfills me, what really makes me happy, what really turns me and makes me feel that joy that Jack can feel me about is helping you, so that you could go help 10 more. So that 10 more could go help 10 more. And that's that connectivity that we have as human beings. And it starts with you. And people are like, well, I can't change the world. You only could change one person, and you change the world, baby. Yeah. And so when I realize that motion, I feel so grateful and blessed and happy when someone says, you know what, Stacy, this is what I've done today because of your teachings. This is who I was able to help. And that's why I do it, is because I know it's not about me. My mission's so big. To teach millions, and that's even small. My mission in life is to teach millions how to get uncomfortable, to think better, act better, and live better. So yeah, it's about that one person, man. It's about that feeling that I get, that human emotion, that unconditional love of progression. So much.
So you said one person can't change the world, and this reminds me of somebody said this. They said, think about this. Try to sleep in a closed room with a mosquito. And sleep, and tell me that one person can't change the world, right? Because you're going to wake up the next day and that mosquito has just messed you up, right? You have more power. You can do more than you think you can. You know, the butterfly effect, forgot the guy's name. If I could remember the name, I'm going to share it with you. There's this beautiful speech. He wrote The Lost Choice, the guy who wrote The Lost Choice. And he does this talk about the butterfly effect throughout history, how one person went on to change the lives of billions of people. And he shows you throughout history how that happened. And it was around T. Booker Washington and stuff. Beautiful, beautiful video.
Yeah, I definitely need that. I definitely need you to send me that.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. I'll share it with you guys because it's a really powerful.
Is it Andy
concept.
Andrews?
Yes. Say his name again. Andy
Andrews.
Yes, that's him. That's him. He's got that really amazing video online.
Definitely, I'm gonna definitely check that out. Those things like that inspire me, man. Things where you're sitting in a room writing a book. People's lives you change, and I think that's what and I always thank Grant for what he's done to change the subconscious around the ecosystem that he's created, because there's a million 10Xers running around changing the world, man. Yeah. By changing themselves first, and I think that's the key, is when we understand that we have to change first.
Yes.
Anyone else, and we just change ourselves and watch the magic happen. We got to talk offline, because I got to really tell you a story. I think you'll appreciate that. But I know you are a meditator, and you gave me a resource. Siobhan and I will check that out. And I had someone else here that said, yeah, it's a definite great experience. But I know you meditate, and just want to know how that's going for you.
Oh, meditation is something that I do every day without fail. It sets you up in the mornings. For me, it sets me up in the mornings to clear my mind, right? I'm always been a creative person, and I've always had like a really fast mind. My mind was constantly racing, sometimes to where I couldn't even sleep some nights. If I have ideas, there's no sleeping. Yeah. I'm not going to get to sleep. And so I had zero control over my mind and my thoughts. And when I discovered meditation, and I was able to literally silence my mind, right? And the way it was put to me was like, you're a mountain and your thoughts are clouds and they just pass by. And it's a visualization, but when I was able to quiet my mind and observe my thoughts and not react to them, I mean, I can't even explain to you the power that this created in my life to not react to just anything that happens. And it just sets my day up to just be positive, to be grateful in a spirit of gratitude, and just be intentional. You start your day right, instead of like reacting to your alarm clock. You're late. You're in this spirit of like rushing, and you don't have to do that. You can set your intention for the day through meditation and just mindfulness, right? It's as easy as getting on YouTube and looking up guided meditation and listening to it and just closing your eyes. I know it sounds like hokey for some people, but I can't even put it into words, the power. You have to do it. You have to experience it, No,
I agree 100%. I mean, that's how I started connecting with my own personal power, was and I did it because I never knew I could do it. When you first start, you're like, doing this thing right? What the heck? I don't feel nothing. I don't hear nothing. I don't see. You realize that you're doing it. Mm-hmm. And the power that you do have, yes, just being still. And that's a discipline in itself. And everything that I've done and am doing, just going, keeps that habit forming, keeping the power so potent. It's just right now, it levels me out, and it shows me how grateful that the universe is to have me. It's like the universe loves the hell out of me, man, and loves us, and just wants us to connect to it. And I believe in the power of meditation.
Oh, I definitely I recommend it to everyone, and I know some people are like, I don't, what am I chanting? Is it a religion? It's not a religion. It's none of that. It's just being still, like you said. And some of the most beautiful moments in my life since the discovery have been in meditation by myself. You feel, you just get in tune with, you can feel gratitude on the deepest levels when you can just clear that mind and just, man, it's so hard to explain. I wish I could communicate that feeling with people.
You know what, Albert? Well, you know what? Just to give you a piece and your audience a piece, there was one day in Delaware, because she was there, and I'm telling you, the universe has us together for more powerful reasons than one, because she needed to witness this. Because if I ever try telling someone without her there, they'll be like, "What, are you nuts, man?" But I know the people that needs to know and understand it will definitely understand it. So I was in a deep meditation. It was a guided meditation. I wasn't trying to attain anything. I was just laying there. Instantly, I was sucked in. I was sucked in. I couldn't even open my eyes, man. Sucked in. The vibration of the world was going through me. The vibration of the entire universe. It felt like an hour. It was probably, and I, of course, now goosebumps is flying off everywhere. My right ear started ringing like a Morse code tone that it's unheard of, what I heard inside my right ear. But really, what I wanted to get to the point of is when I got up, I see things differently. I was now attractive. Frequency, something inside me changed, and it was very rough for me for the next 4 months and what I had to endure. But it was very moment. I was like, she was like, what happened here? I was like, I just love you. I love the world. I love the moon. I love the rug. I love the table. I was an unconditional love.
Yes.
And that power has been with me the entire time. It never happened that deep again. It only needs to happen once.
Yeah.
I was in tune to something else, and that made me know how powerful we are.
Yeah, that's true, and I can relate to an experience like that where you couldn't open your eyes, and it was one time, and that's all you needed, right? You were hooked, For me, after I experienced that kind of an experience in meditation. I went to try to attain it again, and I wasn't able to until I did the flow therapy, which was another, the sensory deprivation thing that I was telling you about. That was a whole nother
thing.
Yeah, when you experience it, I think you're gonna call me and you're gonna be like, you are not gonna believe we just did that. I want you to call me.
I want to definitely.
Yeah. So. We're hitting around an hour, and I wish I could be here all day with you. I got some other things, and I know you got some other things that we got to do. I wanted to say, every time I just, like I said before, anytime I'm engaged with you, I always receive like so much value. So this recording, I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to get just the same amount of value that I got the first time that we spoke. And I know that everyone else who's going to listen to this and see this on the podcast or on YouTube, they're going to get value, and they're also going to look for you, right? So how do people find you? How do they get a hold of you and get, follow your message?
Yeah. Sometimes I say leave it up to the universe, but now I'll just tell you. Stacy A. Cross on everything. Don't believe in followers, so just lead me there, right? So lead me on Snapchat, Stacy A. Cross, LinkedIn, Stacy A. Cross, Twitter, the big four, right? Whatever you want. Also on YouTube, The Comfort Killers, and of course the mega domain, the hangout spot where the crazies are hanging around is thecomfortkillers.com. And also, I mentioned a couple of times that we do have a 30-day, I don't want to call it a challenge because it's not really a challenge when you're ready for it. And so it's a 30-day process. It's a comfort killer process. The exact steps I use to overcome addiction and to get intuitive and really step outside of my comfort zone to live a successful life. And I want to give that back because I know that that's why I'm here. So if you're interested in that, definitely shoot me an email. You'll be one of the few in the beta testing right now. And it's hello@thecomfortkiller. That's hello@thecomfortkillers.com. And we'll send you out some information on that. But it is definitely for killing comfort and living a successful life without hiring a $10,000 coach, okay? And that's what I want to give people to start off before they go into the academy so they can get their mind right.
Yes, I'm all over that. I'm all over that. So I definitely want to be a part of that. I definitely want to be. I will definitely want to check that out. It's been a pleasure, Stacy. Like I said, I always get so much value from our conversations. Is there any last thing you want to say to everyone?
man. Stop. Like, just stop. Just stop. Yeah, I don't give any back pats. I don't even wear a backpack. I want you to get uncomfortable. Whatever it is today that you didn't do yesterday, do it today, okay? If it means, all it is just getting up 30 minutes early. You don't have to go kill crazy comfort and get up at midnight. Go to bed, okay? Go to sleep. What I want you to do, though, is if you get up usually at 7, get up at 5, and start personally developing yourself. We have tons of information, content. Read the articles on thecomfortkillers.com. Premium stuff to get you started, man. So you are in the position here because the universe attracted us together. And what I take heed, take action on your life, remain uncomfortable. I am Stacy A. Cross, and there is no E in my name. It's been such a pleasure, Albert. Thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm privileged. I can't wait to send this out to my community. You've done an amazing job. You're organized. You make me so happy. You're valuable in my ecosystem. My goosebumps are on tilt right now. You are amazing, my friend. Thank you so much.
Man, this is what I'm talking about. This energy is what you capture people, So, this is Stacy Cross, and we're on the Strategic Crucible podcast. This is going to be on our podcast. I hope you guys got value out of this. I did. I'm sure that Stacy did. I hope that anybody who sees this gets valuable. And until next time, shoot for your stars and be better than you were yesterday, right? This is Albert Polanco signing out. Peace.